Awesome. So thank you everyone for attending this meeting again. It's the CF on K8s Working Group Forum where we can discuss anything and everything related to the Cloud Foundry ecosystem on Kubernetes. There is a document that should be linked in the chat that everyone can look at and add topics to. If you do not wish to directly add them to the document, please drop your questions in the chat and I can add them for you. Welcome to everyone that's here, returning or for the first time. And let's just get started, kicking off the first topic on our list, which is our first milestone with a little link.
Yeah, so I think last time we talked about releasing and when that could potentially happen. I have created a GitHub milestone for our first release. I've called it version 0.1. And yeah, the consensus in the team is that feature-wise, we're actually happy with what we have now, but at the same time, we don't want to release without having all endpoints actually having using user-scoped authentication. So what I've done is I've added all the stories to backfill user-scoped authentication to all endpoints that we have at the moment to the milestone. And once they're not all stories, so the milestone looks more far ahead than it actually is because I still need to create a bunch of stories. But once those are done, then I guess we can just click the button and release something, which is exciting. If you feel there is anything that belongs to the milestone, feel free to go in and add it. But my impression is that there's nothing that needs to be in that is not the authorization work. So hopefully not too far away.
Yeah, that's pretty much the feeling around a bunch of us. However, it would always be nice to have outside perspective. So anyone that isn't involved in the day-to-day that is at this meeting or not at this meeting, and you can tell them about it, that has particular feature sets that they think are extremely important to them, then have them make some noise so we can make sure to include them.
I mean, I think if having CF push working with the authorization actually being used is, I think it's more than enough for a first release. We do have some endpoints that are maybe not directly hit by CF push. So our scope at the moment, our surface is actually a bit larger than CF push, and then we want to cover all of it before releasing. So we're going to release something that is a bit more than just authenticated CF push, but I think it's a pretty decent scope for a first release. People can install it, push, see that it works. It would not be bad at all.
Absolutely, yeah. And a big thanks to everyone that's been working on all of it. It's a pretty monumental task to cover all the different parts of it. The surface area is quite large.
Yeah, luckily, I think we're going through it relatively swiftly. So like it's lots of tiny tasks, but they all more or less look the same now that we've nailed like the design. So hopefully it's not going to take too long to be done with all of them.
Cool. Any comments or thoughts from anyone else before we keep moving? Alrighty. The next topic is Eirini repositories in incubator.
Yeah, I've been doing some housekeeping in the Cloud Foundry incubator GitHub org. The TSC decided that we would just kind of sunset that org and move all active repositories into the Cloud Foundry org, and then archive those that are no longer being worked on. And there's 6 Eirini repositories there. I'm wondering which of those should be moved over and brought under the purview of the CF on K8s working group. There's Eirini, Eirini release, Eirini CI, Eirini staging, Eirini controller, and Eirini Helm release. So talk about that with someone after the meeting, or if you want to address all those right now, we could.
Yeah, it's funny because there is definitely like some of those repositories are effectively abandoned. Like they were part of CF K8s, so they were part of the old flow with the cloud controller, and so they can probably follow the same like life cycle. Like if CF K8s is being marked as deprecated, or I don't know what's happening to it, then the same should happen to the Eirini release. The controller is a dependency though of CF K8s, of the current product. So we want to keep that, and I guess the CI with it. Although we should maybe think about, I don't know, either merging the two code bases. Like they used to be maintained by two different teams, but it's not the case anymore. So maybe they don't make sense as standalone things anymore. I don't know. But yeah, I guess we can just sit down and go through them one by one and decide what to do with them.
Yeah, the ones that are used in CF K8s, we should probably keep around just for any security updates if we need them. And then, as mentioned, Eirini controller is currently used in our efforts for CF on K8s. One extension off of this topic is that we are looking into making it flexible enough to have various different orchestrators so that you can have Eirini, or you can have something else, direct deployments or stateful sets, or something like cartographer or whatever. So while we should still move those over to Cloud Foundry, it might not be a hard requirement in the future for it. So it should be interesting on that side. But yeah, we can all discuss between a few of us to figure out which ones need to be merged, which ones need to be moved over, and which ones can be archived.
Great. So. Yeah, thank you. Just reach out to me whenever you have a kind of definitive answer for those 6. Thanks.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you. I see the list in chat. Awesome. All right. So we have another topic from Chris as well, which is a presentation at CFF Governing Board meeting, February 23rd.
Yeah, that's going to be the first Cloud Foundry Governing Board meeting of the year, coming up in just about a month. And I was thinking it'd be great to get a presentation of some kind on wherever the CF K8s project is at, regardless, if there's been an initial release by then or not, just kind of a update on where things are at, what that release is going to look like, or what it does look like. Could be 1 or 2 people, but some representatives, maybe the tech leads or whoever would like to just give a 15-minute or longer presentation on this.
Yeah, it sounds good. I think between the group of us, we should be able to field some people that either want to volunteer or feel that it would be a good idea. So we can discuss it in Slack and get back to you on who will be on the list.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Let me just make sure. You said about 2 representatives?
Yeah, or it could be 1, could be 2. I wouldn't imagine more than that would make sense. And let me just give you the time of that meeting too, just so you know. That is going to be 11 a.m. Eastern, so 8 a.m. on the West Coast.
So a little earlier than this meeting, but not very far.
Yeah, not that much.
So it works for probably either side of the pond and possibly other parts of the planet. Yep. I don't recall the time zones for.
Yeah, it's not bad for West Coast or Europe. So
cool. Awesome. Well, we will definitely do that and get something prepared.
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So that looks like the end of our quick topic list for this week. I can open the floor to any off-the-cuff questions that people want to ask, or I can, answer concerns or just elaborate on some of the work about orchestration that we're doing, that we're exploring, although that will be forthcoming later on when we actually decide to try to abstract and implement some of that stuff. So it might be worth just giving time back to people. Thoughts? Thumbs up, thumbs down? What's
Andrew,
which one is which? Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
yeah, any updates about the public roadmap that we chatted about last time we were together?
Who wants to field this?
Yeah, I mentioned that we have a milestone now in place. Once I have all the stories that we think are needed, like that we want to be in 0.1, which will be on in the first release, then you kind of have an idea of the progress, like how far we are into releasing. And yeah, once all the stories are done, then apparently there's no other major blockers, so we should be able to release something. I wonder if we have some documentation blockers or something like that. Like, what does it mean for us to be ready to release? Like, do we feel confident that people will be able to install this thing easily, or do we need to do some extra work on that side? Like distribution work, basically, or CI, like that we happy with the CI? Do we want to automate the process of releasing before the first release, or are we happy to release something and then figure that out later? I guess these things we'll have to figure it out, but whatever we decide, we'll put everything into the GitHub milestone, and you'll be able to see the progress. So we don't have dates. Yeah. Like, I don't think it makes sense to come up with dates, but you see how we're covering the scope.
Right. I mean, one of the other things that I'm also looking to extract from sorry about the kid noises. I tried to kick them out of the room, but they came right back. So one of the other things that I'm trying to extract from this public roadmap is a sense of, what are the big issues that we are tackling. Now, I'm very happy the way you've carved out this V 0.1 milestone, because it gives a clear picture about the auth issues being at the forefront of it. And, you want to limit this to a certain scope. And I think that's a very crisp and valuable summary of here's what we are targeting for like the first cut as a milestone. So if it is possible, and I could be kind of greedy here, but if it's possible to sort of create a similar pattern in terms of, these are sort of the big issues, or these are sort of the big groups in terms of features that we are targeting for every subsequent release, it gives us at the foundation an opportunity to, write something about, what's coming, or speak about, what's coming up in different forums. So that's really the perspective that I'm asking about this forum, not in order to sort of push folks or to put pressure, but more in terms of preparing the market and the audience and our community for, this is what you have coming up, and, if there's something that you'd like to prioritize, speak now versus stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we should have probably done it sooner, and we should get into the habit of doing it in the future. Like every release, we just create a milestone like automatically, and so that makes it visible to everyone, like what's missing and how far we are, etc.
Yep, I think that all makes sense. I think we have some thoughts going forward as to what will be in the next milestones, but we should really sort of collate that and put it up ahead of any release that goes off of whichever milestone we decide to stage our initial release off of. So that's good feedback for the community and for the foundation to be projecting forward as to what the feature set will be, so that we can get that messaging out. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. Well then, any other thoughts before we break for the next 2 weeks and hopefully run down a bunch of the rest of the stuff for that 0.1 milestone? All right, cool. Well, once again, thank you everyone for coming, everyone that's been here before and everyone that's come for the first time. Feel free to drop topics in the Slack channel if you wish to have them in ahead of time, or you might now have the working group forum link to the notes, so you can try adding them there. And we look forward to seeing y'all again in about 2 weeks.
Thanks all.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right.